Hey everyone, this is Kara Wong and I'm here today with Julie Brenneman, our leading lady, to talk about all the things we talk about to empower women. So Julie, tell me a little bit about what your childhood was like growing up.
Well, like I said, I have really awesome parents. They're very supportive. They've been married forever, and they were very good role models to me. But I was a little bit of a wild child. I didn't want to follow the rules. I moved out when I was 17, and I moved in with my boyfriend, who was a lot older than me. And again, he was very abusive, and eventually I ended up back there. But I always liked to march to the beat of my own drum, and I didn't like to be told what to do. And as soon as things didn't go the way I wanted them to go, I just took control of the situation and said, I'm out. And that's kind of, it wasn't any fault of theirs, but it was just me being a rebel.
How did you end up in the career you're in today?
Well, when I was 21, I was working at a financial company, the City Financial, and I was selling money for about 30%. And I took a little bit of time off in between to go and work at a factory, but then I was laid off, and they called me and asked me if I wanted my job back. So I went back, and I was referring a lot of my clients that I knew could do better and get money at cheaper rates to a mortgage broker. And one day she asked me some information about a client, and I said I would lose my job if they knew I was giving you these clients' names. I can't give you any more information about them. And she said, well, if you ever want another career option, you should come and work with me. So I thought about it, and I went out for lunch with her, and I thought, well, if I can sell the money at 30%, I can sell it at 5%. So then I quit my job the next day.
Oh, wow.
I've been a broker for 6 years, and I was an agent for 2 years before that. I worked for a company at a Stratford for the first couple of years, and then I met another broker at the broker course, and we decided to kind of join forces, and I opened up as a mortgage center in Woodstock, which is in Ontario, and it has a population of around 50,000 people. So I opened an office, and that was 6 years ago. And now we're going to be opening up as my own franchise. So it'll be Hometown Financial, and it will be the mortgage center still.
So what's an emotional glass ceiling that you've struggled with in your life?
I think that a lot of people are really surprised when I tell them about my struggles with depression as a teenager and as an adult. I didn't have the best self-esteem growing up, and I always chose the wrong type of men, and they were very abusive to me. And then I fell into a funk, and I've taken medication for that for about 18 years now. And I've been through counseling for it, and I think people are very, very surprised because when they see me in business, I'm this ball of energy, and I'm so lively, and I'm always the one that is trying to calm them down and make them happy. And when they hear that I have such an extreme the other way when I'm alone, they're very surprised about that.
Tell me about a challenge or a setback you've had in your life, and how did you overcome it?
Well, one of the things that calmed me down a little bit after my teenage years was I ended up getting pregnant when I was 22, and I eventually married the father of my child, and my son is 13 now, and unfortunately things didn't work out with us, and he left when my son was about 3 years old, and just I never thought that I would be, divorced at 26 and on my own with a 3-year-old. And I mean, obviously my parents were very involved too, and I've remarried since, and my husband now was very supportive after I met him. But being with my son by myself for the first year was hard, having to deal with, picking up the pieces when my ex decided to come in and out of his life very sporadically, and I still pick those pieces up now. So it's made me very close to my son and have a really good relationship, but it's tough, like, to see the heartbreak and when that happens to your child.
So what kinds of things do you do to project yourself as an empowered woman in business?
I get a lot more respect now than I ever have, but it hasn't always been that way. I started when I was fairly young in this industry, and I found that a lot of men would treat me almost as if I was like the secretary, and the dumb blonde, and I've tried to, it was very hard to be taken seriously, I think, and I just try to own it, right? Like, it's not. Once you sit down and talk to me, you know that that's not what I am, and it doesn't. I mean, the way that you look, people judge you, unfortunately, and I've tried to change a little bit, even about my own appearance, just so that it's not, people don't just look at me as the dumb blonde. I always wear heels. I'm 5'10", and it's funny because I might talk to, sometimes there's clients that are really aggressive on the phone, and then they come in and they see me and I'm this super tall person, and I'm the way that I carry myself, and it's almost as if I get the respect now. So it's really a great feeling. And when I'm sitting in my chair at my desk, and it's my office, it's my staff, it really feels great, because I feel like I'm getting the respect that I've never gotten before in my life. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So what changed? Obviously you changed.
I changed, yeah.
And how did you change? Like, what was that shift from being, disrespected to feeling respected? Yeah. Like, what was that transformation? What did that look like?
Well, I think I started believing in myself. Like, it's when I first started, you go through as a new agent in this industry, it's frustrating and it's hard, and especially when people won't give you a chance, or people call the office and they ask if they can speak to the boss, and I'm like, you're talking to her. Like, it's really, and also being able to empower other women. Like, I never had a lot of girlfriends growing up, and now I have so many like awesome females in my life that are so, like, I just look up to them so much, and they've done so many great things, and they just don't stop. They just keep doing awesome things, and they help other people, and we just empower each other like that way.
Knowing what you know today, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? What piece of advice would you give her?
I think I probably would have told her to slow down a little bit. I mean, obviously, every experience that we have in our life shapes the person that we become. Yes. But I think I would have slowed down quite a bit earlier, and maybe got some more education. I mean, at the end of the day, I haven't really needed to have a ton of education, but I do wish that I would have stayed in college and taken some more business courses. It may have made things a little bit easier for me in business to actually have a business background instead of just sales.
How do you balance being both a mother and a working professional?
It's tough. I feel like I missed a lot of my son's childhood with starting this business. I was just so passionate and so driven to succeed. He is my biggest fan, however. So I try to involve him in a lot of the things that we do as a brokerage. We do a lot of charity work, that kind of stuff, events, and my son is always there, and he's always part of the team. And he's always been since he was 6 years old. So I just try to involve him in everything, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're still spending time together, and I'm still working. Right. But and then now I've actually hired more people now in the office, so I'm able to take time off. I'm able to take him on vacations. I'm able to go to his school and help out or whatever, just because I have good people that help me out a lot.
Tell me about an accomplishment you consider to be the most significant in your career.
Well, so far, getting my own franchise is huge to me. It's really terrifying, but it's huge. I never thought that my career would be where it is now. Every year I would be offered a new job from a bank, and I would always consider it. And then I never did it because I thought, one of these days everything's just going to fall into place, and it did. So I'm really excited to start the new franchise and to be on my own and be able to hopefully make my mark a little more widespread.
Absolutely. It's a big accomplishment. What is your spirit animal?
Well, it's a unicorn.
Yay!
So
tell me why.
Just because they're unique and they're powerful and I don't know, they're just beautiful. So
And they're free.
They are very free. Yes. So
You're a free spirit.
I like to think I am.
Did you ever have a mentor?
I've had a few mentors in the mortgage industry and other people that I've reached out to over the years. But one day I was sitting on my computer and I got this message from this lady named Hallie Noble, and she told me about this women's group that was starting for women in the mortgage industry. And I was so pumped because I didn't really think that brokers talked to each other. I thought they just, kind of were on their own island. And now it's so big and there's so many women on there and amazing women. And I'm meeting them at events and, and they all have a piece to give me of, of their business, of how they've built their business, and it's so amazing how they help each other. And I actually consider the Women in the Mortgage Industry Facebook page, I call it my mortgage Google, because if I need something, I just put it in the search and it's a quick answer. It's like having a friend ready to help you anytime you need it. And we all still need help. It doesn't matter because no deal is the same.
Absolutely. And it's just such a great thing that someone would create something like that and recognize that how just amazing it is to have that support.
Yeah, and it's so nice that women are it's almost like you've got a bunch of friends, like I've met so many people at functions and I'll say my name and they'll be like, oh, I've seen you on Wimmy, or I'll say the same thing to them, and it's so cool to be able to do that.
How has social media played a role in growing you as a person?
Well, a lot of people reach out to me via social media. It's hard to see yourself everywhere. It's obviously flattering, but it's also kind of intimidating. And I just decided to get out of my comfort zone, and it made me want people to know how much fun I have too, and it's not all about work. And I think that if people see you having fun, like they want to use you in business. They want to maybe get to know you a little bit better. And I just started doing all these things out of my comfort zone. Doing speaking, doing workshops. I call this year the year of yes, because I'm doing everything. I'm going to every event. Things. Oftentimes I'll say, oh, I wish I didn't have to go to this event tonight, and then I'll go and I'll be like, oh, I'm so glad I went because I, met all these amazing people. And because of the social media, they feel like they already know me because they've seen me all over social media, and they feel like they're already my friend.
What's your definition of success?
I think being able to sleep at night is my definition of success. There's a lot of people in business that they're very successful, like financially, and they have these big businesses, but not everybody goes about it the right way. And I always said, it's going to take me a little bit longer, but I want to make sure that I do it right and do it ethically, and so that I can sleep at night.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's good. What is one characteristic that you believe every leader should possess?
Transparency, for sure. Especially when you have staff, and I think you should always be very transparent, with what expectations are, and not keep things from them, because if you're a team, you have to work together. So you need to make sure that they know what's going on too.
Thank you, Mortgage Centric Canada, for your generous support in making this video possible.